Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where each and every week I share with you the newest issue ones that I read for the current comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, you like me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, you came to the right place. Why don't you hit that subscribe button? Today's video is sponsored by Hey Comics, and they're getting ready to launch a new Kickstarter, and it is called Print Is Not Dead. It's a comic anthology, 20 genre bending stories, action, drama, sci-fi, comedy, and more. There's 20 participating artists, and this one is written by Elijah Joseph, who has done a lot of stuff on Webtoons. If you are interested in this Kickstarter, I will leave the link in the description box below. But do you remember the joy of channel surfing when you would stumble upon something weird or wild or perfectly unexpected? That's what this comic anthology is about. Print Is Not Dead delivers not just a collection of short stories, but a movement, an experience, and a love letter to discovery. This sounds like a really awesome project, and there's 3 different covers here as well. So if you are interested, remember, make sure you bookmark this Kickstarter, and it will notify you when it launches. So again, check out Print Is Not Dead, and the link is in the description box below. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and let's get started. Today's first issue one that we are discussing is the Toxic Avenger comics. This is issue 1. It's a $5 comic book. Now, I've maybe read a handful of Toxic Avenger comics in the past, so it's like, well, it's a new number 1. Let me see what it has to offer, and we'll take it from there, right? This one is written by Matt Boros, and the artwork here is done by Fred Harper. When it comes to the artwork in this comic book, dude, it can be outright disgusting. You get to see like this town affected by like toxic waste, and there's like these transformations happening, and these people are just like all grotesque. The Toxic Avenger himself looks a little bit weird as well. And I was just like, hey, it's not bad, right? Look at that. Just like kind of like these crazy, nasty facial expressions in there are just off. They got like these boils and these welts, and there's like this pregnant woman thing there. Like, oh, that's nasty. But when I started reading this comic book, I did feel a little bit lost. I'm like, why can't I seem to get into it or get to learn the characters the way maybe I want to? And it's because there was a 5-issue miniseries that came out before this launch. So I was like, oh, okay. So I feel like maybe I have to go back and read the trade and kind of understand what's going on. And then will I be really into this for the long haul, right? I don't know. But what this book was about was, it was about some kids that were disappearing in this town because obviously it's like being affected by toxic waste. But is it really the toxic waste that's making them run around, or is there something much more happening in this town, right? I don't know. For me, this book is not worthy. I'm not saying that it's a poor book. I'm just saying I can't really see myself going, oh my God, this is the Toxic Avenger. I have to read this book each and every month it does come out. And again, I do feel a little bit lost. So this one is just not going to make the cut for me. So I'm going to give this one an average C. It's got decent artwork, but I wish I wish I could get into the story a little bit more. Wild Animals, this is issue 1, published by Mad Cave Studios. Great books this year from Mad Cave. 32 pages, $5. This book is written by Ed Brisson. The art is done by Andy Kuhn. The artwork is fine in this comic, right? I wouldn't say it's my favorite artwork, but it's a very like street level type of book, just dealing with your everyday main character here by the name of Neil, who has a father that got killed by some crooked cops. His mom's in a hospital, and he's just trying to survive. There's no like real action in here. You just learn how sad that this kid's life is and how much crap he has taken over his entire life. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of this comic book, he's no longer this pushover. I think something mentally breaks in this character, and now he's just going to go after the people that killed his father. And it was an entertaining book. I mean, you kind of want to go along for Neil's journey and to see, you know, what's going to happen with this guy. Is he truly going to snap? Is he truly going to kill people? Is he going to make him as bad as his father's killers? I don't know. It was sad. It was emotional, but I liked it. I digged it. I found it worthy. Again, I'm just curious to see where this main character goes, and I like this story that it presented. You know, it all showed the backstory of his father, his current situation with his mother, and we'll see what happens in the future. So yeah, if you're looking for a cool independent comic book, it's a little bit sad, maybe a little bit depressing, but I think it's good. So I'm going to give this one a B. Guys, let me know if you actually read this or even knew that it was coming out this week. Marvel Swimsuit Special, Friends, Foes, and Rivals. This is issue 1. This one is obviously published by Marvel Comics. 40 pages, $6. Was it worth your hard-earned cash, right? Do you want to read the story? Do you want to see the pinup pages? Whether you like guys or girls, let me know in the comments below. I specifically got this cover here, this nice like little wraparound cover. I thought that one was a nice one, right? This one was written by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks, and the art is done by Nick Bradshaw. You know, the artwork in the actual story is fine. It's kind of surprising that they did do a story in a book like this, because I feel like they felt like they had to put some kind of substance instead of just putting pinup pages to justify the cost of the $6, right? But was the story any good? Well, the story is about Roxxon, who's creating AI images of the superheroes. And so it's up to the superheroes to come up with their own swimsuit edition. So we wind up seeing Janet recruit superheroes from all the other teams, and you wind up seeing pinup pages across the way. So obviously you get the story at hand, and then when they introduce the characters that are being recruited, then you wind up seeing your pinup pages. Now, honestly, when you buy a swimsuit issue, nothing for nothing, I do think you want to look at those pinup pages, right? Am I wrong? Or just let me know in the comments below. And I would expect more of those pinup pages. I'm all for a story, but I think you need to have more of these pinup pages, more of the characters, right? And I didn't think it quite hit the mark there for that. And some of the actual pinups were reprint covers, and there's one that I know for sure, right? This was a great image here by Nick Klein. I really like that one. But the one that I knew for sure that was a pinup was a She-Hulk one. But this Cloak and Dagger one, I thought this was a standout right here. That was very classy. I really enjoyed that one. But this page right here, where is the She-Hulk? This is a reprint of a cover for sure, because I own that cover. It came in foil. I totally remember that one. So not everything they used here was original artwork, right? So was this one worthy? I don't think so. I don't think it is worthy. However, it is a fun story. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think it really justifies the cost of $6, because you get through the story within a couple of minutes. You look at through some pinup pages, and that's that. Now, if you made this book with the same story, 60 pages, and you put more pinups with more characters, right? Then maybe, and charge it $6 there, 60 pages, $6, then it might justify the cost. So that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. But it was fun. And I'm not saying, again, that it was a horrible story. I think I'm going to give this one like a C+. I had a good time reading it. I thought it was a little bit funny, but I just wanted something more. Fantastic Four First Steps. This is issue 1 with the Fantastic Four movie right around the corner. This is a comic book that introduces the MCU version of these characters in comics. This book is 32 pages for the price of $5. This one is written by Matt Fraction and the art is done by Mark Buckingham. The artwork in the comic did a really nice job at introducing all the different characters within the Fantastic Four, whether it's Reed Richards, Sue Storm, The Thing, and Johnny Storm, right? There's lots of action throughout the comic. Panel layouts are really well done in the comic as well. And the cool thing is when they introduced certain characters, they had like newspaper articles in the comic, you know, highlighting some of your favorite characters, something like this. So that was really cool. Gives it like that lifelike feel to it. So I really enjoyed that kind of that difference in the comic. Otherwise, it's kind of like your traditional origin story, right? So nothing really new here that you already haven't read. It's just kind of like a modern tale of the MCU version. So this one was worthy though, because this is something that you can put in your collection, and when you have this, you can say, oh, I remember when the Fantastic Four movie came out, and this coincides with that, and it's released at the same time. So really cool stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to give this one a solid B, and it's only a one-shot, so if you want to check it out and you have the extra cash to do so, you know, I think it's worth the $5. So we move on from the Fantastic Four, the first steps, to Fantastic Four issue 1. This one is legacy numbering 727, 32 pages, $5, written by Ryan North, and the art is done by Humberto Ramos. And I'm so happy Humberto Ramos is doing this book. It adds a little bit more energy to the book. That's what I like it. When you open up this book, in the first 2 pages, you get to see this 2-page spread with just some excellent action between the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. And right away, this book wastes no time in getting to the plot. Doctor Doom sends them off into some different time periods of when Earth exists, right? So from the beginning of time to basically when the Earth dies. And you get to see the experience between Johnny Storm, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and Ben Grimm. And seeing those adventures happen is quite interesting. And they all have to get to a certain point, which is called the Forever Stone, and they basically got to clock in this thing, and once they clock in, then they can all be saved. But something happens at the end of this issue to where it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. I really like this first issue of this. This book is definitely worthy. So if you were on the fence about trying another Ryan North Fantastic Four story, give this one a try. This might be going somewhere. I gave this one an A. I really had a fun time with it, and I think Humberto Ramos's artwork really adds to the story. Planet Death issue 1. This was like my sleeper pick, letting people know that this book existed. This was a very fun zero issue that was released for $1.99 about, I don't know, was it 2 months ago or something like that? This book is 64 pages for the price of $6. This one's written by Derek Holstad and Robert Venditti, and the art is done by Tomas Garello. The artwork in this book is great. The premium format of this book is absolutely awesome. You get so much for what you pay for. 60 pages, again, that quality page count there, and it just looks like $1 million. I actually really love the way this book presents itself here, and just the action that it has. Now, it has great action, but I felt like the story did lack a little bit in this opening issue. I felt like, honestly, you got more dialogue and more storytelling in that $1.99 issue than you did get in the 64-page issue. But nevertheless, this was a visual storyteller right here, because you wind up getting to see our space marines, or whatever you want to call them, coming out of like this hydrogenic type of freeze chamber, whatever it is, and then go into war. and you get to see them being picked off basically ship by ship, soldier by soldier, and their goal is to destroy the weapon and return home, right? That is reiterated quite a bit in the comic book, which I get that's the mission parameter here, but you wind up getting to see a little bit of the humanized self of these characters, right? And then basically what happens, you get to the point here where you are down to maybe just one soldier left, right? Against maybe this whole alien race. I don't know. We're going to have to read the second issue to find out. But nevertheless, it was a roller coaster ride. I did really enjoy it. Action-packed. Definitely would recommend this comic book. It is worthy in my eyes. Not the strongest, like, in-depth story, dialogue-wise, but visually, like I said, a lot of fun. I gave this one a B. Unfortunately, from what I heard, I don't think the next one comes out until November, which would kind of suck. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring, issue 1. This is part 2 to the original Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Published by IDW, They Need a Hit. 32 pages for the price of $5. This one is written and drawn by Patrick Horvath. The artwork is really good. You're just set in this world where these animal human creatures live, right? And this is just the follow-up to the original story. We got Samantha the bear, who just had this thing of going to other towns and just killing other animal humans, right? And then burying them in like little pieces. And she almost got exposed in the first volume. So if you want to read that first volume, I definitely say go ahead and check that out, right? Now in this second volume here, we wind up seeing the sister of the duck that wound up getting killed in the original series. And this sister wants nothing more but to solve this case, to find her brother. And she will stop at anything to do that. She will go to police precincts. She will go through do the rounds year after year after year. And then she finally gets a tip on where maybe her brother could be, right? And you will be shocked and find out who the person or animal that winds up giving her that tip. I was just like, oh my God, this book is so worthy. I absolutely love this, and I don't know, like, how this whole thing is going to transpire by the time we get to the end of it, but it's that thing, keep your enemies or friends close and enemies closer type of thing, right? So I don't know. I liked it. I was surprised by the time I got to the end of this book. So yeah, absolutely a fantastic first issue and reintroduction to the character and the new character as well. So I'm going to give this one an A+. Like I said, go out there, read the first trade, and then go and read this first issue. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. So there you guys have it. There are my thoughts on this week's newest issue ones. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know, good or bad, in the comments section below. I'll leave you more content right here for you guys to click on. In fact, I'll leave you my comic book haul for the week. And there's this new X-Men event that was just announced that's releasing 16 new titles. So check that out, guys, as well. And as always, remember, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always read your comics so we can have great comic conversation. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you on that next video.